Rafael Devers is a bona fide superstar, and his most recent offensive performance further proved that sentiment.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby, former ESPN social media associate and current host of the Boston Balling podcast as well. And I am here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed. And the best part is it's free. So if you don't love free, that's on you. But if you do, this is the perfect place for you, where you can hear all things going on with the Red Sox. Locked On is your team every day. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to bring home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit, only available to U.S. customers. Welcome to Locked On Red Sox, the show where I like to feel like your emotions are actually felt, because I am one of those people whose mood gets determined by the Red Sox. Regardless of the day that I'm having that day, if the Red Sox win, I'm in a good mood for the rest of the night. If the Red Sox lose, I'm in a bad mood for the rest of the night. Pretty simple. And if you are in any way like that, this absolutely is the show for you. But luckily, today's show is a happy one because the Red Sox are coming off of a good win against the Baltimore Orioles on Tuesday night. They did win 8-3 in what was their first win of the season against Baltimore after starting 0-4 against them. And I've said on this show in the past that the way the Red Sox perform against their own division this year is going to be very crucial when it comes to their opportunity to be a playoff contending team, because that's what killed them last year. They won 78 games and they couldn't beat their own division, lost a lot of those matchups, and that was something that separated them from the rest of the pack. And they are in a really good competitive division right now, so if they want a chance at being in a wild card spot, they need to try to stay in that top three of the division. And it's tough. I mean, the Orioles and Yankees are both very good teams right now. And from watching all of the games between the Red Sox and Orioles so far this year, it's pretty apparent that the Orioles are straight up a better team. They do everything a lot better, like capitalizing with runners on base, capitalizing on errors made by the other team, and just playing more complete baseball, whereas the Red Sox struggle with certain things. And when you're playing a team like the Orioles, you need to play perfect baseball in order to win, because they are too good of a team for you to not do that. And when the Red Sox start to slip up and get into these bad habits that we've seen from them all year, they can't beat a team like Baltimore doing that. But they played a good game on Tuesday night and won 8-3. And one player who gets a ton of credit for that win that helped fuel that victory from an offensive standpoint is Rafael Devers, who had a 4-hit game with 3 singles and a triple. He went 4 for 5 because he did record a strikeout too, but he looked very good, drove in 2 runs on the night, and he has just been an absolute machine on offense lately. Not only did he break the Red Sox record for most consecutive games with a home run with 6 games recently, but he really is getting himself back on track in terms of his ability to consistently hit well for this Red Sox team. He's currently now at a .289 batting average. He has 44 total hits on the season, 24 RBIs, 23 walks, and 10 home runs. one thing to be wary about is he does have 45 strikeouts. He's been swinging and missing a lot. Now, this is something that Devers has always done, but it often hasn't really been talked about as much just because of how much power he has on that bat and how good of an offensive player he is. But he's always given us a good mix of strikeouts along with the productivity. And that's something that we're just going to have to get used to and accept with Devers, is that he might generate lots of swings and misses, but he's also going to give you lots of home runs, lots of singles, doubles, maybe even triples like we saw on Tuesday night. And he'll generate hard contact and drive in runs. And that's what's important. And that's why the Red Sox are paying Devers all of this money to be here, is because he is the guy that the Red Sox will rely on when it comes down to it at the end of the day to step up to the plate in crunch time and drive in the go-ahead run. Because honestly, are there other players you trust more than him overall in that scenario? Maybe in the short term, you have other players you could bring up, like Connor Wong, who's hitting very well right now, or Rob Refsnyder, who recorded 2 hits in the game on Tuesday night, including a home run, or Wilyer Abreu, who also hit a home run on Tuesday night, going 1 for 4 in the game. Those guys have been hitting very well this season as well. Connor Wong is hitting over 300 still, so he's looking very good. He again recorded a hit on Tuesday night. So there are a few guys you could point to that are having very good offensive seasons right now. But at the end of the day, is there really a guy that you can think of in this Red Sox lineup that you would want more at the plate than Devers in a 1-run game where the Red Sox need to score the tying run or try to take the lead? I feel like your answer to that question would be no. Devers is still the guy that you trust the most in those situations. And me too. I mean, this is again what he's here for. He is that guy. I will say with Devers, he does struggle when it comes to delivering with runners in scoring position often. A lot of times when he's hitting home runs, there aren't other people on base, and it's something that he needs to pick up frequently. He's recording a lot of hits and hitting for power consistently, but it's almost like he freezes up sometimes when it's more of a high leverage situation, when there's base traffic and he needs to come through. Those are the situations where he either strikes out a lot or he makes light contact and can't deliver with that big hit. And I wonder if that pressure of the contract is getting in his head a little bit, to the point where he is feeling like he has to come through every time when he's at the plate and there are runners on base, because that can be difficult for the face of the franchise to do, is feel like they have to come through in all of those situations. And it almost seems like he tries too hard. Whereas when there isn't base traffic and there's less pressure in the at-bat, he's more natural, more himself, and that's when he finds more success at the plate. So he definitely needs to change his mental mindset with runners on and his ability to be able to perform under that pressure, because that's the Rafael Devers that we need in order to be a productive offensive team moving forward. So keep an eye on that for the rest of this season. Is Ken Devers hit more consistently with runners in scoring position and still remain his natural self at the plate, as opposed to trying to stretch and alter his hitting strategy because he wants to drive those runs in? So that's one thing to keep in mind. But big 4-hit night for Devers, very productive, helped lead to the Red Sox topping Baltimore for the first time this season. And coming up, I'm going to be talking about something to be concerned about with the Red Sox offense, even though Devers did hit 4 hits on the night. Overall, as a team, still things to be concerned about. So that's going to be touched on next. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. I'm telling you, eBay Motors is the absolute place to go when in need of car parts, so check them out today. Also, subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or check it out on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app, as we as a network will keep you caught up in all things going on in sports in a 24/7 stream. We are the first network to ever have a 24/7 sports streaming channel, no matter what time zone you're in. So if you want to stay caught up in everything that's going on, Locked On Sports Today absolutely is the place for you. While the Boston Red Sox may have won an 8-3 game against the Baltimore Orioles on Tuesday night, Rafael Devers recorded 4 hits. Wilyer Abreu and Rob Refsnyder continue to show off their power with a home run apiece. And Brayan Bello pitched 5 innings, giving up 5 hits and 3 earned runs. He did record 7 strikeouts and gave up 2 walks. He really did clean things up after the first couple innings. He gave up all 3 of his runs in the first inning, and he does struggle with his slider. He has struggled the last couple games to locate his spot using that pitch. His changeup is still a very good pitch. That's his best pitch. It's the pitch that he should be going to in lockdown situations, but he still struggles with that slider, and we found more of those struggles on Tuesday night. However, he did clean it up significantly in the last few outings of his start and was able to hold the Orioles to just the 3 runs. So those last few innings, he looked more like the Brayan Bello that we know of him. So although all of those positive things did happen, one alarming thing to keep in mind about the Red Sox in that game is that despite putting up 8 runs on the board to go with 11 hits on the night, they recorded 11 strikeouts as a team. And that's something to be very much concerned about, because this isn't a one-time thing. The Red Sox are actually in double digits when it comes to strikeouts in a lot of games this year. And so far this season in 2024, the Red Sox have recorded 533 strikeouts. That is over a total of 1,880 at-bats so far. That's a pretty alarming number. Only a couple teams have more than the Red Sox right now, and there have just been a ton of swings and misses on this Red Sox team. And if you're going into these games and you're recording double-digit strikeouts the majority of the time, those are going to add up very quickly. And the thing that I feel is the biggest problem with this Red Sox team and the strikeouts right now is that guys are not judging the pitches in the best way that they should be. For example, a guy like Rafaela strikes out on 3 pitches quite a bit because he's not being super selective in terms of the pitches that he's swinging at. And that's something that should definitely be a concern if you're a fan, because you want guys to be putting pressure on pitchers. And that's something that the Red Sox were so good at offensively last year, was going up against opposing pitchers. They were able to put pressure on them, work pitch counts, take their walks when needed, and they were able to get guys on base. But now there are so many strikeouts in games that when the Red Sox are down by a run, sometimes it feels like it's a milestone for them to come back in that game. Now, there could be a lot of different reasons for this, but I believe the root of the problem is the hitting coach, Peter Fatse. It's time for him to be taking accountability for the fact that there hasn't been a lot of upward mobility and growth in terms of the Red Sox lineup and the strikeout problem that they've been having, and just guys' ability to continue to improve, because we've seen a significant change in the pitching this year, an improvement from last year. And I give a lot of credit to Andrew Bailey for coming in and changing the approach being taken with the pitchers and implementing something different that sets up the pitchers to succeed. And I don't feel like that's the case with these hitters, that they're changing their approach a lot to be able to be successful more. And it's just incredibly inconsistent. I mean, they'll go from having little to no offense one day and only recording a few hits to putting up an offensive performance like they did on Tuesday night, where they won 8-3. And sometimes they do try to play hero ball and are focusing on just trying to hit the ball deep. And that's taking away from the Red Sox identity of what they've always been as an offense. And their identity as an offense has always been to be able to hit singles and doubles, not just be looking for the home run ball all the time. And I feel like this Red Sox lineup as a whole has too many players right now that are looking to play hero ball from that standpoint, whereas we need them to be able to mix up their at-bats a little bit more. And I'm concerned that moving forward, the more that they face good pitching, the more this offense is going to struggle unless they change the overall approach from a hitting standpoint. And that might start with the coaching and replacing Fatse with a fresh face who can provide some value in terms of coaching these players on their hitting approach at the plate. And even back when Reese McGuire came on my show, he was talking about how he changed his plate approach this season compared to what has he been doing in the past that hasn't worked for him. And he just talked a lot about being able to hit to more parts of the ballpark and looking for different kinds of pitches. And everybody in this Red Sox lineup needs to be doing that. And I just worry that too many guys are trying to find a pitch that they can hit out of the ballpark, but aren't thinking as much about the little details of, okay, even just a single and getting myself on base can make an impact for this team. So I'd like to see the Red Sox go back to that, and they absolutely have to cut down on the swings and misses, because there have been too many situations this year in which the Red Sox have struck out in big scenarios and missed out on scoring runs. They tend to leave a lot of runners on base, and it's been a serious problem. They only left 5 on base in Tuesday night's game, but that's something that has cost them a good amount of games this year. And it's funny because looking at this Red Sox team before the season started, I actually felt more confident in the offense than I did in the pitching. And then now taking a look back on everything they've done so far this year, the offense has been a concern and something that just hasn't been consistent enough for the level of competition. Now, you have some guys who have really surprised and stepped up, like Connor Wong, like Wilyer Abreu, and that's been great to see them be able to find their stride and find that confidence at the plate. But we can't say the same thing for the whole lineup, and I just don't see a lot of upward growth coming with that lineup right now. So I think the Red Sox need to examine the Peter Fatse situation. Maybe he's overstayed his welcome on this Red Sox coaching staff, and maybe they need to bring in a fresh face who has a different approach to the offense that the Red Sox can start putting up more runs, because it's not fair when Tanner Houck is losing a lot of his starts, even though he's barely giving up any runs, because his offense can't back him up. And that's something that we need to be able to do more consistently. Is if a pitcher is having a very good start, why keep the pressure on them of having to dominate the entire rest of the game when the offense should be doing their part and putting runs on the board to get their teammates in a good spot to finish the game strong. So that's something that I'm going to be looking out for moving forward. Is, can we change the entire approach of this Red Sox lineup? Are we taking pitches? Can we figure out how to balance being aggressive at the plate with being patient at the plate to the point where you're in that happy medium, not afraid to take walks, but also not striking out as frequently because you have good plate recognition and you're not looking for just the home run ball. So that's the biggest overarching thing I would like to see from this Red Sox offense. And I also do think it's worth looking inside and figuring out if anything that Fatse might be guiding them to do is causing these off and on offensive struggles. So a big thing to keep in mind as the Red Sox move along with the rest of what has certainly been so far an up and down season. But coming up, I'm going to be talking about some recent roster moves that the Red Sox made and letting you know why they made those moves. Is sports betting your thing? Have you been interested in getting into it, but haven't quite done it yet? Wherever your level of sports betting knowledge is, FanDuel is the place for you. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. You can win so much money on FanDuel. I've heard so many stories firsthand of people winning a lot. So that could be you. It could change your life. So don't wait another minute. Just check out FanDuel. Also, this is your reminder to check out Locked On Sports Today, the first ever 24/7 sports streaming channel. It's available on YouTube and also on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV Channels app. So if you're looking to make sure you stay caught up in all things going on in sports, make sure to check that out as well. The Boston Red Sox did come off of a big 8-3 win against the Baltimore Orioles on Tuesday, but they lost 11-3 on Monday. The day before that, got absolutely smoked by the Orioles. Offense could not be productive, and it just wasn't a good day for Cooper Criswell. He got hit hard, went 4.0 innings, giving up 6 hits and 6 earned runs. He only struck out 2, so it was not his day. He got pulled after 4 innings. And then a new fresh face to the Boston Red Sox in Brad Keller came in to pitch after that. So over the weekend, the Red Sox signed right-handed pitcher Brad Keller to a 1-year contract for the 2024 season. To make room for him on the active roster, the Red Sox optioned right-handed pitcher Zack Kelly to AAA Worcester. Now, Zack Kelly wasn't having an awful season, but to the Red Sox standards, he probably wasn't cutting it. He had given up 1 run and 2 hits over 3 innings in last Saturday's 6-3 loss versus Milwaukee. He went 0-1 with a 2.16 ERA in 11 relief appearances this year. So he had some very good outings. He also did struggle a couple times in there. So when it came to adding another pitcher into the mix, they probably felt like it made the most sense to send him back down to AAA to get more reps, and maybe they feel like he just isn't ready and reliable enough to be on the Major League Ball Club. And I could get why, because he definitely had his inconsistencies. But Brad Keller being the choice definitely is intriguing for sure. While he can provide a length for the Red Sox, he doesn't really have the numbers that are super promising. He agreed to a 1-year contract with the Red Sox 6 days after he was cut by the Chicago White Sox. He was 0-2 with a 4.86 ERA in 2 starts and 3 relief appearances with the White Sox from April 29th to May 18th. He was then DFA'd on May 20th and elected free agency 2 days later. Because when you DFA a player, they have the option to elect free agency. Teams can claim them off waivers. If none of that happens, then they stay in your organization and just get optioned to the minors. So he elected free agency, and then the Red Sox picked him up. Alex Cora is interested in his stuff, feels like he has the mechanics to be able to be successful. But he was 38-53 with a 4.27 ERA for the Kansas City Royals in 114 starts and 36 relief appearances from 2018 to 2023. So it's obviously not super promising for the Red Sox, but he can provide some length, and he did just that in Monday's game when the Red Sox lost 11-3. When it appeared like that game was out of reach for the Red Sox, he came in and pitched 4 innings, giving up 7 hits and 4 earned runs with 2 Ks. So he didn't have the best outing overall, but he provided the length, and it was a really smart managing decision by Alex Cora to keep him in the game to finish it, because the Red Sox knew they weren't winning that game, and Alex Cora needs to think about the future and the rest of the series at that point, and he needs to have arms available for the later games so that they can try to win the series, because you're not going to win every game. The goal is to win as many series as you can. So now that the Red Sox split the series so far with the Orioles, now they could go for the series win tonight, and they've conserved a lot of their arms. So when Keller came in to pitch, even though he didn't pitch overly well and he did have one rough inning where he gave up those runs, it still makes sense to me that Cora would want to keep him in and allow him to finish it, because he in his head was saying, we don't have a day off this week. I need my arms healthy. And wouldn't you rather have the best arms coming into the game in a close game late, as opposed to using them in a game like that was on Monday, where the Orioles had such a huge lead, and then you're wasting your better arms when they could give you a chance to win later on in the series? So yes, Keller didn't pitch well, but yes, it was a huge win that he provided some length, served dividends, and allowed Alex Cora to not have to dig deeper into his bullpen, and it allowed more guys to be available on Tuesday night when the Red Sox won the game. So it's all a long-term effect, and thinking of what else in the later term is going to happen as a result of this. So he knew that when he went to Keller, he likely was going to keep him in the game unless he just absolutely fell apart, could not even get out of an inning. But that didn't happen. So Cora felt like he was the guy for that day. He was going to come in relief, and he was going to finish the game. And that's what he did. Now, the biggest reason the Red Sox acquired him most likely is because, unfortunately, Garrett Whitlock said last Saturday that his season is over, and he expects to have his right ulnar collateral ligament repaired with an internal brace. So, once again, poor Garrett Whitlock, just injury after injury for him, just has not been able to stay healthy, and it's a tough blow for the Red Sox for sure. They've gotten very lucky in the fact that Cooper Criswell overall has pitched well for this team. Take out a couple starts that weren't as good. Every pitcher is entitled to bad starts. It does happen. It's a long season. Not every start is going to be very strong. So give or take a couple starts in there, Cooper Criswell has been very good for this Red Sox rotation, and he really has been able to fill that void in Whitlock's absence, and looks like he's going to be the guy moving forward this season now that Whitlock is no longer going to be here for this season. He needs to work on his recovery, and hopefully he can come back and be healthy. So as a result of Criswell staying in the rotation, it's good for him, it's good for his development, and it's good for the Red Sox to really get a sense of, can he be somebody moving forward in the future that they can rely on? But for Whitlock, definitely unfortunate news, but they need another arm to help provide length because of Garrett Whitlock's absence, and that's exactly what I think they see here with Keller, is his ability to pitch 4 innings in a game and be able to keep the game in check. And the Red Sox were looking at it in terms of, we need a long reliever who can pitch more innings out of the pen, because with Garrett Whitlock, when he came back, who knows if he would have gone back into the rotation, or if they liked Cooper Criswell enough to keep him around and then put Garrett back in the rotation or the bullpen, depending on which one they're feeling. So if they were to put him back in the bullpen, he could provide length and eat innings. And so they are now missing that role since he won't be back. So I think they signed Keller so that he could provide length. I don't think they were obviously wowed by his numbers, but they must see some stuff in his mechanics that they can work with, and most of all, so that they don't need to fatigue their bullpen all the time because of this Garrett Whitlock news. So definitely unfortunate, but they were able to pick up Keller, and I'm hoping that he can put up some good numbers as the season progresses, because honestly, this Red Sox fan base is going to be all over the poor guy if he does not perform to expectations of what Red Sox fans are looking for from him. So definitely hoping that he's able to get himself acclimated and he continues to eat innings, but wasn't overly impressed by him on Monday, but was at least happy that he was able to finish the game and eat innings like the Red Sox needed him to do, because that ultimately is the key. That's what is going to help the Red Sox win games down the stretch, is because their bullpen will not be as fatigued. So think about Garrett Whitlock. Just keep him in your thoughts, because he's going to need that as he's recovering. Definitely a tough blow for him, a tough blow to the Red Sox rotation, but this is Chris Wells' opportunity to continue to shine and show that he's still worth a spot, even if Whitlock were to return. So good for him, but definitely not ideal news. We'll see what happens with Keller. We'll see what happens with the Red Sox. They also did end up trading Pablo Reyes to the Mets in exchange for cash considerations. He was DFA'd by the team, and when you get DFA'd, you can get traded somewhere else. So the Red Sox did that, got cash considerations from the Mets, so that worked out well for both teams as well. So the Red Sox just got to keep chipping away here. The injuries have just been a tough blow for them all season long, but they're staying afloat. They're treading water. Let's just keep stringing together wins. As always, keep the faith. Go Red Sox, and I will catch you on the flip side.